Alright, ninth grade SMAC students, in our last video we created this model. Now I'm going to show you how to do a simple interface. So an interface, the idea of an interface is that's kind of what you show Grandma Myrtle because she doesn't understand, or you would show your boss because he doesn't understand how Stella works. So the quick way to get to an interface, and there might be another way to do this, but the quick way is to click on this button, which should have a name. It's not coming up right now, but it's what allows us to create an interface. We can actually have more than one page. Oh, I still have one already. I'm just going to try to see if I can delete this, because I didn't really mean for you guys to be able to already see this. So, and Stella's locking up for me. So, here, I'll just do this. I'm just going to recreate all this to show you how this worked. Alright, so what you'll probably see is something that looks like this, a blank screen. So what we want to do is we want to add objects to this to make this look more presentable. So these icons are not really always quite what you think they are, and there's a lot of cool stuff you can do which I haven't even begun to learn myself. But what I want to do is I want to add a numeric display. Now this is kind of deceiving to me because it looks like it's going to be a 7-segment display, but it's really a little bit more than that. So we want to attach this to something. So if I double click it, and then I can say I want to associate this with Tim's savings. So you can see, it's a little hard to see, but it is showing the variable name and then the amount. So I can format this. I'm going to go down here to the right hand side. I'm going to format this. It's going to make that bigger. You can play around with this and change the color and stuff and make it a little bit bigger, maybe like 20 size font. And I'm going to do the same thing for Tim's savings. Double click it, and I'm going to associate it with Tom's savings. Sorry, I think I said 10. And I want to make this bigger as well. Make this about 20 size font. Just make it a little bigger. I'm going to move these down here so you can see them a little better. That one's a little too big. Okay, so these, don't worry about these values right now because I was messing around with stuff. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to also add these sliders. So these are just simple interface buttons that have the same conventions that the average user is familiar with. So we're going to add a slider. We're going to say this slider is going to be associated with the deposit. Sorry, the monthly amount. So we're going to allow this to be changed. And then we're also going to add another slider. Double click that. I'm going to associate that with the interest rate. So really what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to say, I wonder what will be the outcome if I can change the monthly amount or the interest rate. Now, also what I want to do, just to make this a little bit more visually appealing, is I'm going to add a graph. You could add a table. I'm just going to do a graph. And I'm going to add a graph down here at the bottom that just includes Tim's savings and Tom's savings. So I can see right now, whatever I've got this set at when I ended, is it's actually showing that Tom ends up with more money, because I was playing around with this a little bit ago. But if I make sure I set this back, I'm going to go ahead and run this, and I can see what I have it set at is 2,000, 7%, so Tim is ending up with more money, and that's what we would expect. So Tim ends up with about 295, and Tom is roughly 276. And that's what we saw if we went back and looked at our other model, the model view, we can see that that's the case. But in this interface view, now what we can do is, I wonder what would happen if I was able to change the monthly amount or the interest rate. So I'm going to change the interest rate, and I'm just going to move it up and set it to, I don't know, something close to like 8.5. That's close enough. I'm going to run it again, and I can see that Tom still ends up with more money. Now, Tim ends up with more money. Now, even significantly more. Alright, fine. What happens if I move this back to maybe something around 6%? That's close enough. Run this again. Now I can see that, look at this, Tom actually surpasses Tim at the end. Well, how's this affected if I change the amount that's deposited? Change this down to something like, I don't know, we'll say something close to 1,500. Now what happens is still Tom surpasses Tim. How does this change if I move this up, I don't know, all the way up to 3,000? Does Tim still surpass Tom? Yes, he does. So you can see that really the driving factor is apparently the interest rate. So I can set this to like maybe 6.5. How does that change? We can also see their ending values very, very close at this point, but still Tom surpasses Tim. So the whole point to this interface idea is that this should make this really nice and simple and easy for the average user to be able to get some kind of outcome effect as to what's going on. So when you go to save your whole model, this interface view will be part of this. So if you just go to File, Save As, and then I've already saved mine as my Tim Tom, but if you save it, your .stmx file will have both the model view as well as your interface view.